What if I told you that the single greatest enemy you face is not out there in the world, not in the economy, not in politics, not in what other people say about you, but inside your own mind? Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor of Rome, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that for a moment. The most powerful man on earth, commander of legions, ruler of millions, didn't believe that power came from armies or riches. He believed it came from a simple shift in perspective. Stop letting your emotions, fears, and doubts dictate your life, and instead train your mind to see reality as it is. That is the mindset shift that ends self-doubt. And it's not just ancient history. It's as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. Imagine you're about to give a presentation at work, or you're facing a difficult conversation, or you're simply lying awake at night replaying mistakes in your head. Self-doubt creeps in, whispering that you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that others are better than you. This is the battle Marcus fought every day, and the one we fight too. The difference is, he learned to master it. He didn't silence those doubts by pretending they didn't exist. He faced them, examined them, and then stripped them of their power. When Marcus wrote his journal entries, never meant for publication, he wasn't writing for us, but for himself. He was reminding himself that fear is just an opinion, not a fact. He was reminding himself that insults only sting if he gives them permission. He was reminding himself that the approval of others is fickle, but the approval of one's own conscience lasts forever. Seneca, another Stoic, put it this way: "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And isn't that true of self-doubt? We create entire scenarios in our minds where things go wrong, where we embarrass ourselves, where life collapses. And yet when the moment actually arrives, it is rarely as bad as we imagined. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, preparing for the worst, not to be pessimistic, but to rob fear of its sting. Epictetus taught that we must focus only on what is within our control, because wasting energy on what lies outside it is slavery to illusion. So when doubt whispers, the Stoic response is not, "I must eliminate doubt entirely," but "I must separate what is mine from what is not. My thoughts, my actions, my judgments, those are mine. Everything else, irrelevant." This is the shift that Marcus Aurelius reveals. To stop measuring your worth by outcomes, applause or fortune, and to start measuring it by the integrity of your own mind. Let's pull this wisdom from ancient scrolls and place it right in your daily life. Imagine you're scrolling through social media. You see friends traveling, colleagues celebrating promotions, strangers flaunting success. Suddenly, doubt creeps in. Am I falling behind? Am I good enough? That's self-doubt in its modern disguise. Marcus would urge you to pause. He'd remind you that what you see is only appearance, not substance. A curated image cannot tell you about someone's character, values, or peace of mind. Seneca warned that comparison is a trap that robs you of joy because you measure yourself by standards you never agreed to. He said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Epictetus would challenge you. Do you want to be good, or do you want to seem good? These words sting because they're true. Much of our doubt comes from measuring ourselves against illusions. The Stoic path breaks this cycle by teaching mental training. Marcus used journaling as his armor. Each night he wrote down fears, corrected false beliefs, and reminded himself of principles he wanted to live by. That habit isn't ancient history. It's a practice you can adopt today. Write your fears, then test them. Is this within my control? If yes, act boldly. If no, let it go. Another practice is voluntary discomfort. Seneca would sleep on the floor, wear rough clothes, eat simple food, not to punish himself, but to ask, is this what I feared? Often, the reality of hardship is far less terrifying than the imagination of it. By practicing discomfort, you shrink the power of doubt. Epictetus, born into slavery and beaten by masters, still declared, "You may fetter my leg, but my will not even Zeus himself can overpower." His life proves that the human mind, once disciplined, is unbreakable. Now consider your own setbacks. A rejection email, a failed project, a harsh critic. The untrained mind says, "I'm worthless." The Stoic trained mind says, "Here is training. Here is resistance to sharpen me." Marcus Aurelius framed it perfectly. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Obstacles become fuel, doubt becomes an opportunity, and failure becomes a forge. When you adopt this shift, you no longer see doubt as an enemy to be feared, but as a signal to grow stronger. But how do you make this shift stick? It's easy to nod along to Stoic wisdom. Harder to live it when your boss criticizes you, your project collapses, or anxiety floods your mind before sleep. Epictetus compared philosophy to training for the Olympics. No one wins a crown without daily discipline. And Stoicism, more than any other philosophy, is about practice. 3 practices can transform self-doubt into strength. First, the dichotomy of control. When anxiety strikes, stop and ask, "Is this under my control?" If yes, act decisively. If no, release it. Marcus said that to obsess over what lies outside our control is to waste our lives. You cannot control applause, fate, or fortune, but you can control your thoughts, your effort, your integrity. Second, negative visualization. Each morning, imagine difficulties that might arise, interruptions, delays, misunderstandings. By rehearsing adversity, you blunt its edge. Seneca reminded himself of poverty so that wealth could never enslave him. He wrote, "He robs present ills of their power who has already rehearsed their coming." Third, evening reflection. Marcus reviewed his day, writing what he did well, where he fell short, and how he could improve tomorrow. This habit builds clarity and momentum, replacing self-doubt with self-direction. Apply this today. You face an interview? Tell yourself, "I control my preparation and composure. The outcome is not mine." You launch a business? Say, "If it fails, I learn. If it succeeds, I serve. Either way, I win." You receive criticism? Think, "This is an opportunity to practice patience and humility." This mindset transforms the battlefield of life into training ground. Marcus did not escape grief, betrayal, or fear. He faced plague, war, and the deaths of his children. Yet he stood firm, writing words of courage in the quiet of night, reminders that the mind, once disciplined, cannot be shaken by storms. That is the essence of Stoicism. Not to deny emotion, but to master it. To feel fear, yet not be ruled by it. To experience doubt, yet still act with courage. And when you live this way, something shifts. Doubt stops being a tyrant and becomes a teacher. It sharpens you instead of crushing you. This is the secret Marcus Aurelius reveals. The world will always give you reasons to doubt, but the final judgment is yours. Will you believe the whispers of fear, or will you rise with reason, discipline, and strength? The choice, as always, is in your hands.